Welcome to another edition of Fantasy News. I am your host, Daniel Greene, and today we have a neat little mixture of fantasy news coming together that we're going to go through right now. Starting with news about Studio Ghibli. It has been confirmed that 2 new movies are in development from the studio this year, one of which is being helmed up by Miyazaki himself now that he has returned from retirement. It is unknown exactly when these will be released. They are just going to be in development for 2020, but it's being speculated on a couple different websites that they'll be released in either 2021 or 2022. Not exactly specific speculation there, but we'll take it. Moving into American animation news, something I think a lot of people could have seen coming is that Avatar: The Last Airbender is coming to Netflix. No, not the live-action show. They're actually bringing the animated show to Netflix. I was actually surprised to hear it wasn't already on the streaming service. It just kind of makes sense that, yes, it'll be here now that they're working on a live-action adaptation as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have a specific date to be posted to Netflix yet, but myself and many other fans are excited to be able to go through and just watch the best episodes or do a full rewatch, whatever have ya, as a Avatar: The Last Airbender fan. Let me know in the comments down below if you're more excited to just kind of go back through the animated show here, or are you really interested and have faith in the live action that the original creators are bringing to life through Netflix. Witcher proved that Netflix can helm a fantasy project, so we'll see. Of course, links to this and everything I talk about in the description right down there. And in the last bit of animation news we're going to talk about today, Frozen 2, which is a fantasy epic, definitely they covered the bases there, has become the most successful animated blockbuster of all time. The sequel to the mega hit Frozen has grossed $1.325 billion at the box office since its release, which is an incredibly impressive number. I personally thought the movie was fine, not as good as the first one, which I didn't see until way after it was released when I was, I think, in college. When did I see Frozen? I don't know. But it was still a perfectly good movie, but definitely not worth this moniker in my mind. I'm sorry. Incredibles should be the most successful animated film of all time. I'm sorry. It's just the best. I love Incredibles. In a quick last-minute fantasy news update, now there's officially pips in this video, the Stabby Awards were announced for the r/fantasy subreddit, which was really amazing to see that I won one for best related work. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Coming from a community I respect and admire in many ways. Thank you guys immensely. It means so much. And special shout out to Evan Winter as well for winning Best Debut Novel. Hell yeah. There's so many really cool winners. I'll link it down below. Congratulations to everyone who won. Thank you to the moderators for putting that together. And I wish I had seen this earlier when I was still in my news getup, but it's too late now. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Witcher watch for this episode of Fantasy News. The showrunner for Witcher over at Netflix posted to Twitter, "For those who can't get enough of The Witcher, we've been working on a podcast as well, featuring a ton of cast, crew, and creatives. First full episode next week." So if you're a Witcher mega fan who has liked the show, even though it has had some divisiveness online to say the least, I thought it was good, not great, you can go ahead and tune in for a podcast episode, which I will definitely be given a listen, whatever word, to see what they have to say about their project now that it's been out for a while. And on top of that, it looks like The Witcher has lost its fight choreographer for season 2. I have mixed opinions about this because I thought the fight choreography in season 1 was good at times, and then editing destroyed it at other times. So I'm not sure how exactly I feel about this. There's definitely a couple fights that were incredibly impressive, especially earlier on in the season. So overall, I think this might be a bad thing, but who knows what's causing this? Who knows if they're going to get someone else or someone better? But yes, they are losing the fight choreographer from season 1. And finally, in the last bit of Witcher Watch news, Netflix has released how the show performed in various countries. And while it was number 1 in the UK, Germany, Austria, Poland, Taiwan, Philippines, Austria, New Zealand, Denmark, and Finland for Netflix's most popular show of 2019, it ranked number 2 for even more. The USA, Belgium, France, Spain, South Korea, Sweden, Thailand, Singapore, Switzerland, and Norway. And continuing on from there, it ranked fairly well across the board. Basically, it's just saying that yes, Netflix's Witcher was a very big hit for the studio. Now let's go ahead and jump into trailer news, which is the most excited I've been for trailer news in a long time, if not ever, because we got another trailer for X-Men New Mutants. If for those of you who remember, 2 years ago, we got the first teaser trailer for X-Men New Mutants, but it's finally happening. Another release date has been confirmed, and it seems to be staying strong. And we have another trailer for X-Men New Mutants. This movie movie has been through a lot, it seems, but I'm very excited to see Josh Boone's vision for the New Mutants come to life. Now that the New Mutants are owned back over at the MCU, they are with Marvel, they are home in Disney, and not with the studio who seem to be just messing with whatever was happening here for quite some time. I really am hopeful that we'll see the original creative vision for this movie be released. Expect a review on the channel when it does come out. We also got a trailer for the upcoming Hansel and Gretel. Outlander Season 5 has released a trailer as well. And in the last trailer I want to talk about with actually some thoughts here is the upcoming Doolittle trailer. And really I just want to know, how big a check did Robert Downey Jr. have to get for doing this movie? Because it does not look great, if I'm being honest, and I don't know who in the world is asking for another Doolittle movie. I'm expecting a flop. I just don't love this one. Unfortunately, it's not hitting me right. And now in yay on news, Dracula has had its first round of reviews come out, and they have been raving. The BBC's Dracula seems to be doing quite well with the critics. Unfortunately, though, it's losing viewers rapidly. So while the praise has been being heaped on by the British critics, it seems by the second episode that a large chunk of his audience had bled away. Dracula bled away. Blood. It's blood. It's a blood joke. I made a blood joke, guys. Now, Joaquin Phoenix did win Best Actor for his performance as the Joker, and that was great news. I was excited to hear it, and good job, Joaquin Phoenix. Happy for you. But then we got this news, and that is that Todd Phillips wants to have a Batman movie take place in the Joker universe, and I'm sorry, I really don't. This was a really artistic, beautiful movie, and the idea of going back to rehash it for this, let's make more money, let's do this, just doesn't vibe with me, especially with us already getting another Batman movie coming down the road with Robert Pattinson. Can we please let the Caped Crusader have some stability? Give him one franchise, one movie, one actor for a decade. Let's just have one Batman for a decade for a while. Can we do that? I really just wonder how much gas can be left in the tank for one character. Batman's a cool character, somewhat carried by his villains, but a cool character. And I just don't want to see him done to the point where it's just beaten to death. Let's have one actor embody him, build him, become associated with him, and have that performance reach new heights rather than just this constant restarting and recycling that we're seeing. I just don't like that. And speaking of that Robert Pattinson upcoming Batman movie, it appears it has begun filming. We also had concept art for Marvel's Eternals drop, and it looks like this. Big guy, planets. Look how intense that is. Neat. And in the final bit of DC news we're going to cover here today, it has been confirmed that Jared Leto's Joker will not be returning for Birds of Prey. Thank God! And it does appear in the final bit of superhero news we're going to cover here today that the Hulk has returned to Marvel for full rights. For those of you who might be a bit confused by this, for him being in MCU movies, they actually have not had the rights to make a solo Hulk film up until recently. It's being rumored that they did reacquire those rights. Now that Disney has acquired so many other companies, they're soon going to own us all in our souls. But if this is the case, are you interested in a Hulk solo movie or no? You feel this character has been grown enough within the MCU that you don't necessarily need this. And in the final bit of fantasy news we're going to cover here today, it's being reported on and talked about online that the next saga of Star Wars movie coming from Disney is planned, or at least talked about, to be a Old Republic set story. Now, with Darth Revan recently being canonized within Disney, it does seem they're making moves to bring the Old Republic into Disney Star Wars, and that is an interesting move. I know this is going to split fans in a lot of ways. Some people just aren't fans of the Old Republic, some people have no idea what it is, others don't want to see it helmed by Disney. Well, there is still a very large portion that's just excited to see it realized in any way and given respect, because the Old Republic is very interesting and one of the coolest things Star Wars ever had in it. In my opinion, I like the Old Republic. I do want to stress again, this is entirely a rumor and not confirmed at all. It's just being talked about online, and this kind of speculation we do often see turn out not to be true. But in my opinion, with what just happened with the end of the Luke Skywalker saga and the, let's call them mixed reviews, The Rise of Skywalker got, if we're being very nice, I think this would be the good direction to head in. If you want to keep putting out Star Wars content, you need to shake it up. You need to change from what people are expecting and get them excited again, and you will definitely excite a certain part of the fan base if you go back to the Old Republic and keep that conversation and discussion going. So this could be a smart move, at least in my mind. But let me know what you think as well. Of course, sound off about any of the stories you really want to talk about. Let me know what your favorite story of the day was. This has been your latest episode of Fantasy News. It hasn't been very fantasy genre centric, unfortunately, but hey, I'm happy to be talking about the news with y'all, and I hope you're having a wonderful wonderful start to your week. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace. And of course, I'd like to give a special shout out to my 2 latest high tier Patreons. Mark Greene, my dad, and Jonathan Boris. I'm gonna go Boris. Borys. One of the 2. Thank you guys both so much. Have a good one, y'all.